to Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash,
Fortune favors the bold and the brave,
and Dale Hummel.
Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello.
Ryan, I don't have a lot of current events, so I always fall back onto my China, but I'm sure you've got some.
No, I don't have any.
Illinois State Fair, I do have that. Slight announcement to make. We spoke about it with Chase and Fugit last week. Chase did get a steak on a stick, far less appealing than he remembered. Fugit landed a fried key lime pie on a stick, said it was amazing. I went back to the traditional pork chop on a stick, which is great, never fails whatsoever. So I don't know about the everything's better on a stick is what Fugit had made a strong point last week. I can't confirm that by any means. And I did see that Trump got his passports back.
Yes, he did get his passports returned this morning.
I assume they didn't take them thinking he's going to flee the country, but what else? Why else would you load a passport up?
Not 1-3.
Yes, which I don't understand that part either. Why I don't know how. I guess if you, I have one passport and an expired one.
He had two of them were his last two expired passports, and the one is the one that he got when he became president that doesn't expire.
Got it. I was unaware of that type of passport.
Clearly, you're busy eating things on a stick at the Illinois State Fair.
Only a pork chop. Nothing else. I don't recommend anything else on a stick. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I like those pork chops is they're not overcooked like most pork.
Because they're on a stick.
No, I think it has nothing to do with the stick. They seem to stick the stick in at the last minute to make it easier to consume.
I see.
I also have had a few things come across my phone is where I've been getting most of my news, but I'm getting a little more, I guess, I'm more pleased with the fact that more politicians are coming out, that they are concerned about China being able to shut us down without ever firing a shot, just through what they produce, our critical pharmaceuticals, our computer chips, all those things. It seems like there's more attention being brought to it, and I may be a little hypersensitive to it and searching for it, but it appears to be better.
I've heard nothing about that.
Zero.
And
I've heard nothing about Taiwan at the moment.
Then you really are only searching for things about China, because a whole new group of politicians went to Taiwan.
Yeah, I wasn't unaware.
You're literally just searching for things that say China.
No, I'm only looking at things that pop in. I'm searching for nothing. Zero.
That was the biggest news yesterday, is a whole new set of politicians went to Taiwan.
And China wasn't upset about it?
I'm not sure, but I don't think they're going to be very happy when they weren't happy over Pelosi.
But assumably, they didn't seem to mind prior to Pelosi.
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm going to get hate mail for this, but you really need to leave the Illinois State Fair, because I think that it does something to your brain.
I know you do believe that the Illinois State Fair is toxic.
The most toxic, but now it is affecting your brain.
I'm not arguing. I've been there for several days. I actually came home to record.
You need to get out of that environment.
I am here. I'm back home temporarily.
I don't think you need to return.
I have to go down and pick up animals, go to the Sale of Champions, and then I'm gone. I'm out of there. Done.
I don't think you should ever return.
Maybe you should show up and change the.
I showed up. I judged. I did a great job. They never asked me back. So there you go.
I said show up recently, like maybe next year you can.
Nope. No. I'm good.
I am good with the issues, I guess, that we have going on in the world from the standpoint.
Well, I haven't got to say anything about this whole Trump raid since I was stuck in airport hell last week when y'all decided to record. So anyway.
And airport hell this week.
No, I didn't get the airport hell. I drove 12 hours. There's a difference. I was in an airport for 18 hours the one day. I drove 12 hours this week.
Which was worse, the 18 in the airport or the driving 12?
It doesn't matter. They're both terrible. I mean, it's both awful. But on the Trump raid of it all, and I don't care what all these people say. They went in there on a fishing expedition trying to find something for January 6th to hang him with. That's all there was to it. That's all there is to it. It is very evident. There is no evidence that shows from the early June meeting to when they went into Trump's house on early August that communications had broke down. Trump and them told them to, screw off. Any of this stuff. They have not produced anything like that. They finally found a judge that would sign off on this, so they went in there. Look, they took they went into Melania's closet, really, because Trump's going to hide secret documents in her panty drawer. I mean, seriously.
I do not know. I do know that if they went in totally fishing, which you're talking about, which I'm sure that was part of it, that was really an ignorant move on their part.
If they weren't on there on a fishing expedition, why will they not release the affidavit? And yesterday, the DOJ pushed to not have the affidavit released after they said they wanted to be fully transparent, all this stuff. Now they're saying they went to the court and said, we do not want this released.
Yes, and that would play into that. My original thoughts were they were going after something that really the American public could give a shit less about, but may have been a technicality that would somehow prevent him.
Then it would come out, it would have been out by now.
If they found it. I don't think they found what they were wanting.
I think this was a complete fishing expedition for January 6th. And all this, well, he didn't declassify him, whatever, all this other stuff. He was the president of the United States. Even people on CNN and MSNBC have said that if he is the authority on what is declassified or what is not. If the man said it was declassified, it's declassified.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the technicalities of who determined that, but
he is it. That is the person.
Well, he's not going through all the documents to decide that, but he can decide that, is what you're saying.
You really, I think that State Fair makes you dumber.
You think you think we run it by the president? Every document that he classifies what it goes in, thousands of documents a day. He's going through and personally deciding. Give me a break.
The whole thing. From when he decided that he was not going to stay in office or not. I remember them reporting this. He went through and declassified more stuff than any other president in the world.
Yes, he can go through and declassify it, but he's not the one deciding what level of classification every document goes into, period.
No, but that doesn't matter. If he said it was declassified, it doesn't matter.
Yes, I'm good with that. I'm just saying he's not.
And then the other thing is, do you really think that he packed that shit up himself? Come on.
I don't even know what he took. I have no idea.
Do you really think that Trump was in the Oval Office packing up certain documents and putting them in boxes?
Unlikely.
No.
But if there were certain things, and I'm not saying there were things he shouldn't take, he's going to instruct what he wanted to.
I think he probably took some things obviously, he took a portfolio full of pictures that they took. Obviously, he took the Roger Stone clemency document. He probably wanted to give that to Roger Stone one day. Okay, you don't think any other president hasn't taken shit out of there they weren't supposed to?
I don't even think there's a problem with taking it out, and I think that's what they were fishing for, is one of those technicalities that the American public could give a shit less about. They took a big risk going in there, and that's what surprises me. I understand going there fishing, but there are consequences if you go fishing and you don't catch anything. And I think that's where they're at.
And then the one thing that I was done with this whole bullshit as soon as they said this. At the last meeting in June, they had been through everything. And the FBI asked Trump's lawyers or whatever to put an additional level of security, a lock, where these documents were stored. They had been through it. They said, okay, it's fine. Keep these. We just want you to put another lock on it. Then 2 months later, we have to raid the president's home.
Yes.
Explain that to me.
I can't. I think
because new documents showed up? He snuck into the White House through one of Kennedy's old, horror exits and stole new shit? Come on.
All I can come up with is they took a risk, a big gamble going fishing, and I don't think it was a very well-calculated risk. To me,
if many leaks as is in that deal and as many people in the FBI and the DOJ want to hang Trump, if they had anything, it would have been leaked by now.
If they don't have anything, it's to their advantage, and I don't think they can go that long, but it's to their advantage to not come out with we've got nothing until after the fall elections. I don't think they can make it that long. I don't think that they're going to get too much pressure, but They, in my opinion, I'm with you. Apparently, they have nothing. So now where are they at? Do they try to stall until after the elections to say, hey, we screwed up, we got nothing? And do you really think that if there's something that Trump had that was going to incriminate him, do you believe he would not have it somewhere they probably would not find? Not Lania's, not the underwear drawer.
Especially when they've been there multiple times, told him to put a security thing on. He has a lot of high-powered people working for him that I'm sure are very well versed in this. If there was something significant that
could hang him,
I think they would have probably found a way to get rid of it after the June 3rd thing.
That's exactly where I'm at. It just doesn't make sense. Either the Democrat side of things that instigated this, and they're saying the White House had nothing to do with it or knew nothing, and that's complete crap. But they took a risk, I think, because they're desperate. And when people are desperate, they do stupid things. And that's as simple as it is. I think they took a long shot, Hail Mary toss to try to fish something out. And maybe there will be more come out to this, positive or negative, than what we know right now. And I have no idea what that will be.
Trump already said again yesterday and again this morning that he wants the affidavit released immediately. If he knows what's in the affidavit, so therefore he wants it out there so it can show that they have nothing.
And that pushes your fishing expedition, in my opinion.
Yes. That's the whole thing. They went in there. I mean, even...
But how do you get a warrant if you don't have a specific thing we're searching
Do you
for?
know how many people hate Trump?
Yes.
Especially judges?
Yes.
That's what it took them 2 months to find one that would sign off, the magistrate that would sign off on that.
I don't know how that process works. Is there, you have to go to A and then B, then C? Is there?
Yeah, I don't know if there's an order, but I know you can go to multiples.
Well, that's crap. At some point, one of them's going to sign off.
Exactly. You literally don't watch TV at all, do you?
I have not.
No, I mean, I'm not talking news. Like, you don't watch TV because, like, if you watched any type of crime television, you would see this happens all the time. One judge won't do it, so then they go beat on the other judge's door at midnight, and he's drunk, and he'll like, oh, okay, maybe, whatever. Yeah, no.
No, I would be absent from that.
Again, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think they're desperate. They're just like, they got to find something.
They have nothing to lose.
But I don't know why they're desperate. If you listen to the people on Fox News and all these other people, Biden is coming into his own right now. He's doing all these remarkable. Even the people at Fox News said this bullshit.
When did this start coming out?
Yesterday. Yeah, this bill that he passed. He's doing something else. What else did he do? The bill's getting signed today. Something else went right for him. I mean, literally, one of the people that I love the most on Fox News is Brett Baer. And Brett Baer literally said, I think this is Biden's best 2 weeks ever. He's finally coming into his own. I was like, I'm going to throw up right now.
What do you think's going on there?
I do not know.
Okay, and what's the tiff with Trump and Fox News? What's going? What he is absent? What? There's a reason.
He was just on Fox Digital yesterday.
And he did make a comment that Fox would die without him.
Well, that's true. But he was just on, like, he had a full-scale interview on Fox, the only interview that he's had since this all went down on Fox Digital yesterday morning. But the one thing, and again, we're recording on Tuesday, but I think it will be interesting to see because there are primaries, and Liz Cheney and... which she's a congresswoman, whatever she is from Wyoming. And then Lisa Murkowski, who's a senator from Alaska. Like, Trump has done everything in his power to get them booted in these primaries. And I think Liz Cheney's dead. Like, the last polling was 30 points apart. Like, I think she's done.
People of Wyoming without Trump pushing her backwards would have liked to have hung her rather than vote her in office.
But if he gets Murkowski out, I don't even know how long she's been a senator in Alaska, but it's a long time. And you would like the one that is opposing the Alaska senator lady. She's blonde and she's hot. She looks like Holly. You would really like that one.
And I hear Sarah Palin's running for a House seat?
Yes. But she already won her primary, I think. I don't know.
See,
like, it's weird.
I took it as she was still she had a primary challenger, but I
maybe.
just caught
Okay.
a little bit of it. But surely she would win that, would she not?
Well, I don't know. They voted her out of the governor after that vice president nonsense, so I don't know. I mean,
Cheney has
her.
Liz Cheney has no chance, by the way.
Now, that is, you are lying. If you listen to CNN, the Democrats in Wyoming, you can switch. You can be a Democrat or an independent and vote in the Republican primary. And all the Democrats are going to come save Cheney.
So if they come and vote her in and she becomes a Republican candidate, then you basically have two Democrats running and it doesn't matter. They'll take either one.
Exactly.
Well, that needs to change.
The fact that Liz Cheney is trying to get the Democrats to vote for her, doesn't that say enough right there?
I just know the few people that I know in Wyoming, they're not fans. I mean, not only not fans, as angry as you can possibly be with a politician.
I don't know. I think it'd be very interesting to see what happens there. And then since Biden is now the greatest president in the history of the world, we don't have to worry about this because he's camel toes out. Everyone's out. Biden's perfect now. And away we go.
What a way to conclude our current events for the week.
I'm just telling you what has been said on the TV.
I'm hoping you're wrong. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm not buying it. I'm telling you what is it. It seems like inflation and gas prices. And I mean, yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the Afghanistan debacle. There was nothing on the TV about him botching that, basically.
No, and the fact that gas prices went up to record highs and came back just a little bit. Oh, everything's fine now. We forgot that we're still at stupid levels. Those things concern me, and I'm going to blame it. This isn't going to go well. I'm going to blame it on the ignorance of our populace. It's the truth.
I just don't know. I cannot believe that these, I mean, and again, I get MSNBC, CNN, all those other idiots, but for Fox News to be doing this, and I just how can you be swayed that quickly? He gets one massive spending bill passed that all last week, all they did was talk about is how this wasn't going to cut inflation, how this was going to raise taxes on the people that he swore, because I guess his campaign promise was no one that makes under $400,000 a year will get taxes. All this. Last week, they were just saying, this week, woo, Biden's on a roll.
And we get, I'm gonna guess at these numbers because I've forgotten, 82,000 more tax auditors, IRS agents. 87,000. And how many border patrol? How many new border patrol people have we got?
None.
I think we have
87,000 new IRS employees.
That is a staggering number.
Everybody's going to get audited. Everybody.
Yep.
Everybody.
I just don't. I do not. When they make the tax law that complicated, where you almost have to hire a tax attorney to understand it, and then they bring a audit upon you because you may have done something it's a mess. It's an absolute, total, complete mess. Period. I'm out.
Do you realize with the 87,000 new employee people? Imagine if they just started one audit a day. That's all they did for 365 days a year. Do you know how many audits that would be?
I do not.
You don't want to know.
Plus, I don't know how many agents they currently have.
I don't know, but it's in the millions.
Yeah. It's not a good place to be. I don't understand the justification for that. And the cost, in my opinion, of hiring those agents is likely to be less than what they generate. In most of the people that I know that have been audited, it comes back they were fine or they overpaid. I understand that doesn't happen all the time, but it seems like a lot of
you got some real honest people that you know.
Yes, must be, or ones that simply aren't doing more of their own taxes rather than getting a tax attorney in there to try to guide you through all the crap that you have to deal with. I hope that people come back to reality and realize that we need a change in the White House desperately. We need a change in the Congress. We need change across the board, and this fall is where it begins. And I sure hope that we can take back the House and Senate. It will be very, very disheartening if the Republicans do not.
Well, yesterday they were all sitting there talking about how they've got the Senate unlocked. And like I even think the Democrats think that the House is a done deal. They were very it was Scott from Florida that I was listening to. He was trying to be optimistic about the Senate, but it didn't I wasn't buying what he was selling.
It just wasn't working out.
Yeah, I wasn't buying it. I was like, you don't sound nearly as confident as you think there, big boy. But anyhow, so there you go. I just want y'all to know we have the best president ever in the history of the world right now, according to Everything TV.
Great. I'm going to go back to Garage News for the background noise today.
There you go.
I bet they're not talking that way.
Oh, no, because they can't get the garage door up. But
They're
anyway,
doing better, I think. It looks more professional last time I checked.
it's filmed in a garage.
If that concludes our current events, do you have any BTR JLA?
Oh, so many BTR JLA things. So, first off, we're like in the middle of August. You only have till the end of September to join for this year because at the end of the September, we're closing membership for 2022 because on October 1st, we're taking membership for 2023. So you need to sign up. It's only 10 rings. There's plenty of time left. I can't tell you the number of shows that we have yet to come still. It's only 10 rings. And like, seriously, there's Kansas City, Louisville, and Phoenix left. Those are all double point shows. So plenty of time. So still sign up. We still need sponsors in 2 and 4. Region sponsors, and again, we only have till the end of September to do that because I've ordered a lot of the awards, but some of the awards we had to wait to see about sponsorship, so I've got to get those ordered. So if you're interested in being a region sponsor in Region 2 or 4, call me up, email me, Facebook message me, whatever you need to do there. We had another points update. We got 2 people doing the points. I mean, literally, we're every time a show comes in, it's getting put right up. So now there are still some shows that have not sent results, and we are constantly emailing and calling those people, but we can't post them if they don't send them. And like, this is going to be an unpopular sentiment too, because we haven't decided what we're doing about sanctioning costs for next year. But when you give something away for free, there is no like motivation to turn in those points at all. Like most of the shows have done a very nice job, but a lot of them haven't. And I mean, there's some in May, April even, that sent in their form, and we've contacted, emailed, etc. So, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do, but I understand it because like, oh, it's free. We're just going to mail out this form and then we get nothing. Which isn't fair to the members because some members may have gone to that show because it was on the website saying that it was sanctioned and we can't get the results. But we're still working on that. Sanctioning for 2022 is probably going to end at the end of October because we've got to end it at some point so we can start taking sanctionings for 2023, but also because we have to contact all of those shows in December prior to and say you literally only have the 5 days to get your results in. If you can't do that, we need to know so we can be prepared because people are going to want to know as quickly as possible after this year is over where their kids stood. The kids are going to want to know. So if you're hosting a show in December, we want you to have your show. We're excited for you to be a part of this. But like, you're seriously going to have to get us the results ASAP. Other than that, I'm going to do a BTRJLA top 10. I'm going to do Junior Cattle. Faith Campa is first. Kinley Stout is second. They're both from Arizona. Logan Landroche from Arizona is third. Shelby Wardell from Utah is fourth. Ava Shaw from Idaho is fifth. Courtney Fernandez from California is sixth. Beckett Covey from Washington is seventh. Gwen Shaw from Idaho is eighth. Cimarron Gray from Idaho is ninth. And Haley Maggie from California is 10th. So that Dale will not like that one because it's all West Coast.
It is heavy West Coast.
You would be very upset about that one. Like your dog is. Your dog is upset about it.
I don't know what the dog is upset with, but there's something outside bothering the dog.
I think it's your toxicity that you're transferring over from the Illinois State Fair. That's what I think.
It's always a possibility.
I
Maybe
think
the
that's what it
dogs.
is.
Maybe the dogs. Those things.
I think he has. I know you have a sponsor, but I want to highlight a sponsor since I wasn't on here last week. But I want to highlight one of our BTRJLA sponsors, and it is our newest corporate sponsor, and that is Brock Farms Angus Cattle. And they are a fourth-generation family farm located 45 minutes west of Indianapolis. And David and Chris Brock, with their children Annie and Katie, maintain a herd of 150 commercial and Angus cattle focused on raising genetically superior cattle and striving to balance phenotype production together. Brock Farms Angus cattle offer breeding stock, feeder calves, and freezer beef. They have a progressive embryo transfer program to accelerate their genetics, and they do really, really cool things. Again, I love the fact that you can buy a show heifer, a commercial cow, or a ribeye steak, but Brock Angus Farms believes in helping the youth be successful, and they help their kids that purchase products from them all year long, and they believe in this program, and they decided to be a corporate sponsor for the BTRJLA, so we sincerely thank Brock Farms Angus Cattle for that.
Thank you for the sponsorship. It is appreciated. Do you have
very much so.
Do you have any others?
Nope, just that one right now. I might have one in a minute later, but okay. I'm not trying to make this a BTRJLA commercial, sir.
Well, I would like to come in, and you know who I'm going to talk about, our episode sponsor, Show Fresh H2O. So
but have you met her? I've met her.
No, I just communicate via text.
I've met her.
I bet she's a very nice lady.
She is a very nice lady. And actually, I want you to know that she told me she was going to talk to you since you're trying to get me to end my Snapchat and tell you, no, she will stop sponsoring the podcast if I do that.
Not end your Snapchat. Modify.
Because she loves my Snapchat. Her and her husband both. So they're big fans. But anyway, go ahead with your sponsorship. She's a very nice lady.
So I've had several messages, mostly Facebook messages, some text talking about they tried Fresh H2O. And I think it seems to be going very well, and I think the popularity is growing exponentially, and hopefully it's because it's a good product. Show Fresh H2O is made in the USA and can be purchased from your local supply trailer, or you go online at swampfox.com. A little Show Fresh H2O in the water while you're traveling or at the show. I'm not going to say that it's going to make your animals drink the water, but it's going to increase the chances exponentially. Thank you, Show Fresh H2O, for your continued support of the youth livestock industry.
Yes, we do appreciate it very, very greatly.
It is time for the main topic.
Oh, y'all are not going to like me after this one.
Attitude adjustment. Ryan, please. After your 12-hour drive, let's try your attitude.
My attitude is fine. My greatest disappointment in my adult life has been that after Rona shut down livestock shows, I really thought that when we got back, and I mean, I know people didn't like wearing masks and all this, but when we got back to normal showing, like it had been, whatever, and there were all these new shows and all this stuff, I really thought that we would all be so grateful and so appreciative that we were back doing what we love, that people would just be much happier, in a better place, all these things, and they would truly be way more appreciative than what they are. I was wrong. Completely, totally wrong.
I believe they were appreciative for a while.
A hot ass minute.
It is definitely back. I don't, it's right now. It
is worse.
No, it's just where it was prior to Rona. Same.
It is worse. It is worse.
Worse than after Rona.
Nope, it's worse. I have witnessed things in the past couple months, not only in person, I have gotten things, I have seen things on social media, and I just do not understand it. Like, I don't get it at all. Overall, a great many of the people that do this, your attitudes suck. I'm just going to tell you. Like, truly.
Sorry, we're referring to the kids in the show ring, the parents.
I'm talking all of it.
Okay.
All of it. I can give you examples of everything. And I don't understand it, because if that's truly like if that is your attitude about this industry, about this program, about stock shows, then go do something else. Find a hobby that makes you happy. But don't ruin this for the rest of us. Like, and I mean, I'm not going to give specific examples, but I am going to give general examples. And I have never seen people be worse losers in my life. Say downright terrible, awful things in front of 7-year-old children. Put hateful things up on social media. And I don't understand that, because I get we are all competitive, and I am as competitive person as there is. And I do not like to lose. And I am not going to tell you that I am a saint and that I have acted perfectly every time that I ever lost or that an animal I'm associated with lost, because I haven't. But I promise you, I have never done the things that I have seen in the past few months and do it in front of children or put shit up there on social media where you know someone in their family or that kid is going to see it. And in the end, and I'll probably say this 15 times during this deal, I don't know what you think you're doing when you say in literally within 50 feet of a 7-year-old child at a backdrop, oh, well, talking to another family, well, I'm so sorry you got F-bombed. I'm not going to say the word, but they said it right there. I don't know what you think you're doing when you put up on social media, oh, this judge sucked and used all these terrible animals at XYZ. Do you realize that the only person you're hurting is a kid? That's who you're hurting. Do you think that judge that you listed up there that said all the animals, that person, he or she, you suck, do you think you're hurting them? No. They may not even see it. But everybody that lives in your county that was at that show, they're all going to see what you put on social media. They're going to see that. And so everybody that did well there, you're saying that animal sucked. That little girl and that little family at the backdrop, 7 years old, her first junior national, that heard this grown-ass woman dropping the F-bomb about that kid winning, they heard that. Little girl didn't know what was happening, thank God. But her parents did. Who do you think you're hurting?
I have no issues with what you're talking about at all. I can remember it from, I don't know if it's worse or not now. You seem to be sure that it is. This has been going on for a long time. I think it's...
No, I realize that. I realize it's been going on forever.
I think it's brought to more attention just because there's more social media. And I think there's a situation that a lot of people spend a lot of time on social media. And fortunately, they assume everything they see on social media, everybody else sees. And unfortunately, let's hope that 7-year-old didn't see it. I can assure you, and I use social media and I post on Facebook and things like that. But I probably don't spend as much time just scrolling through unless I'm somewhere bored or at an airport or something like that. But I'm with you. There's definitely a line. And I think if we stop and think about what we preach about every single day, this is about building better adults. And I promise you, those stock show kids that surround themselves with a family that surrounds their children with people that have positive attitudes and are good people and aren't going this direction, those kids that have a better attitude are going to have more success in life. And we keep talking about we're building better adults. We're preparing these kids to go into adulthood and be good people, succeed, and hopefully lead a happy life. There is no question that they're in. Ryan keeps talking about Illinois State Fair being toxic. We're going to use that term. If you put your children in a toxic environment because those that you placed around them or whatever that is, or create it yourself as a parent. And we all make mistakes and we get angry and we are very competitive in the heat of the moment. We say things that we shouldn't. But if we can set a better example for those children, we're better accomplishing our goal as a stock show industry to create better adults. That's where I stand. I'm looking maybe at the bigger picture that we have to wake up in the morning and start with a more positive attitude. And when I think about that attitude and what impacts my daily attitude in terms of positive or negative, I have a huge issue. And my flaw regarding attitude is I try to control everything around me or micromanage way too much. Terrible about it. And it creates, when you micromanage to that level, there's going to be little things that go wrong that I should not be as concerned about, that I should not allow to change my mood or my attitude, and it does. But the more we can focus on keeping that positive attitude just in our daily lives, it's going to reflect around everybody that we come into contact with. And Ryan, I think if you were to find these people that are saying the things they're saying and look at the group of people they surround themselves with, whether it's a group of people at work, your group of friends, whatever it may be, that negative attitude, that poor attitude is very contagious within small groups because it becomes the norm. It becomes
you just feed
popular.
off of it.
Yep. But guess what? Somebody with a real positive attitude, it also spreads that way. So we have to be more conscious of that. And I don't even think we understand it's happening. We just start throwing rumors out or talking negative about somebody, and there's a little group of 4 or 5 people, and everybody's chiming in. That's all it is a big bash session, and it happens daily. It happens in the workplace. It happens at the stock shows. It happens everywhere. And we have to be more conscious of it. And I promise you, and I'm guilty of it. I will have a terrible day on and off if something goes wrong in whatever business or whatever in the go-to operation, whatever it may be. It affects my daily attitude. And I have to stop and consciously take a deep breath and try to do better. And I think in the past year, and that's sad that it's only been the past year, I've been able to do more of that. But it's hard. And once you become in a situation where it's almost the norm, like my micromanaging or trying to control everything around me within the various businesses, it's very hard to let go and change. But I'll tell you what, when you're able to do that and you're able to have a more positive attitude, everything else seems to fall in place much better.
I'm not calling specific people out. I am saying instances, and some people will know who I'm talking about, and I really don't care. It happened. But I don't think these people are necessarily bad people. We all have moments that we're not proud of or whatever, but you can't do these things because it's hurting a kid. That is the antithesis of what this industry is about. And I'm going to take it a step further. I'm not just talking about grown adults putting stuff or just making an ass of themselves at shows. I've been at shows in the past 6 months where people that were there that were either volunteers or staff or whatever, that is a thankless job. And I understand it is a thankless job. Better than anyone. My mother has put on shows for years. I have helped at shows of every level. You never get appreciated. You never get thanked, all that stuff. You have to understand that a little bit going in. Because if you're going into that with you're a volunteer or whatever, thinking, oh, everybody's going to love me and everybody's going to appreciate what I do, then you're kind of living in a tree because it's not going to happen. So you need to prepare yourself that you're going to get your ass chewed ungodly amount of times, because if you let that affect your attitude and how you portray yourself, then just like Dale's saying, it's contagious. It just spreads. And I have been at shows where I've heard people that were in leadership positions talk bad about certain exhibitors, etc. You can't do that. You cannot, especially not in front of a judge. Not that I knew who these kids were because I didn't, but that's just not something that you need to do at all.
I completely agree with that. And I think there's something to this, and I don't understand. When we get into that situation where that parent is irate or that show official, it doesn't matter who. But I think part of the attitude is almost a defense mechanism. Does that make sense, Ryan? That they're
yes.
And maybe they don't even need to defend themselves. It's just that paranoia. I don't know. But it goes way deeper, and it just is something we have to be conscious about and realize that it impacts so many people around us. I know that if I'm in a really positive mood when I get started in the day and I'm around my kids and my wife, it sets the tone for the entire day to be a pretty good day. If I wake up yelling at the kids that they didn't do this or that, or they didn't wipe.
Your children are perfect. They do nothing wrong.
And it's a challenge, and I have to stop and think about it. We need to discipline our children. I'm not going to go against disciplining children by any means, but if we can start each day with a little more positive attitude, it's contagious within your family. It's contagious with your employees, all of those things. And guess what? When we step into the ring, Ryan, or you step into the ring today or tomorrow, whenever you're judging next, your attitude, the first few words out of your mouth, your mannerisms, everything that is surrounding you, your aura, that is going to set the tone for that show. If you come in real positive, guess what? It helps bring everybody up to a positive level. It's a better experience for the kids. If we go out there and just kind of grumble through our reasons and act like, I don't want to be here, I want to get home, why did I come do this? Sets a terrible tone.
No, and I'm glad you brought that up, because literally I did the Cornhusker Showdown in Nebraska, got in the car, driving back to the airport, got 30 minutes there, flight gets canceled. There's nowhere to get anywhere near Billings, Montana, 770-mile drive. And so I just said, you know what, I'm going to drive it. And so yesterday morning, that show started at 9 o'clock. We all know I'm a terrible driver. I don't like driving. So 12 hours in a car by myself in the middle of nowhere was very stressful on me. And I was sitting in the car before the show, and I said, I realized, and I was talking to myself. Dale will not be surprised that I was talking to myself. But anyway, I was like, I know I'm stressed. I know I'm tired. I got no sleep. But like, I have to go in there. You have to smile. You have to be happy. Because just what you said, it wouldn't have mattered if I drove 12 hours and 770 miles and showed up and was just an asshole. I mean, like, what good does that do? None. And not every show is going to be the greatest for you as an exhibitor, as a parent, or even as a judge. But you have to find a way to stay positive while you're there. And so that's part of it. And again, I'm not going to call out certain things, but I have 2 more points on this. And this truly baffles me, because there are all the people that come up to me, God, we love listening to the podcast, all this other stuff. And that's great. And I appreciate it. We love our listeners. I also find it that we have 2 million downloads, all this other stuff. And I don't know how many times I have said on this podcast, you should not contact judges before the show. I mean, Dale, at least 100, probably. I mean,
I don't know how many, but you've mentioned it.
Yeah. I have never had more people contacting me before shows than ever before. That I'm not saying I'm not saying that their attitudes have sucked, but I think it sucks that they're doing that.
Agreed completely. I want to take it into the ring just a little bit. And again,
I have stuff about the ring too, but I cannot believe that we're at this point, and that, I mean, and I'm talking like way more than ever. I have people contacting me about their animals, about some animal they sold, all this other stuff before the show, and it is just appalling to me.
Well, how are you going to end that?
I guess that's what I'm trying to do, Dale, right here, is, again, bring it up again. This is completely the absolute stupidest tactic I have ever heard of in my life. I don't know why you would think this was be a good idea. I don't know why you think this is going to help your cause. All it is going to do in my case is make me angry and upset me and put a bad connotation in my head about this whole situation. Because, number one, I have blatantly stated that I think this is bullshit. Don't do it. Number two, no matter what you say, whether you say, oh, so-and-so's bringing a good one, or, oh, I hear you're already going to use so-and-so at this show. None of this is going to help you, because you're either telling me I'm so stupid that I can't find the best animal, you have to point it out to me, or you're questioning my integrity, telling me that they've heard that XYZs are going to win. None of that is going to help you.
Zero. But you will not intentionally hold it against that kid in the ring.
No, I'm not going to hold it against a kid or an animal. The thing that fathoms me the most, Dale, is I don't know these people that are contacting me. And I have figured out why. Because all the people that I know well enough, they know that this pisses me off, and they know not to do it. They know it will not help them. So they don't. But no, I'm not going to hold that against an animal or a child. But it does not matter, Dale. It is like what I've said on here 1,000 times. The subconscious affects things.
It does.
And you have already put a terrible impression on that whole group.
Agreed completely. 100%. I want to talk about that child in the ring. Children are a product of their environment. Period. It just is what it is. So if you're a parent or in that group or whatever with that real negative or sour attitude, and you have this child or this exhibitor, we're going to say, going into the ring with expectations that they're going to win this whole thing easily, all of a sudden you pull them in third and they throw a little bit of a fit, or you pull them in second, whatever it may be. And as a judge, you pick up on exactly that attitude. And sometimes it's an intentional attitude that they're giving back to the judge. They come in the ring with that next animal. They show up to you at a show a year later, a few months later, whatever it may be. I just want those youth exhibitors, and more so the parents and those that are helping these youth exhibitors, to know that is cutting your throat. Whether we're going to beat you intentionally, which I don't think many judges will, but here comes Ryan's subconscious again. And I promise you, my subconscious probably plays more of a role than it should. And I'm aware of it. So I try to keep it in check to a certain degree. But there is absolutely nothing to gain by watching an exhibitor out in the ring throw a fit, give a judge a bad look, not want in any, we know exactly what everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. I want you to be disappointed you didn't do well. I want you to strive to do better. I want you to go back in the barn and do whatever you do, but try to do it in a manner that you're dealing with it yourself. You're not outwardly exposing that disappointment to everybody around you. But if you're a competitive person, you're going to be disappointed when you get beat. It just is what it is. And that's not a bad thing.
That's a great quality.
Yeah. I spoke to several young exhibitors that we're working with at the Illinois State Fair, and some are showing multiple species, and you can just tell they're coming back to the stalls. Maybe they just got done showing a calf or a lamb or a pig or whatever, and they're disappointed, and that's okay, because if they're coming,
I'm okay with it if they're back at the stalls.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it there. I think that is part of it. Now, again, I think for a kid, whatever, I think as adults that we are constantly being watched and looked at, and so are kids. Everybody's watching everything. But like, I think if you get back to your stalls and like you're saying at the state fair or whatever, and you put 6 months to a year work on this and it didn't work out the way you wanted, I think it's okay to be a little disappointed. I don't, again, that shows that you care about it. You had a goal. It didn't work. Like, that's fine. Now, I don't think we need to like have fitted, rage fits or anything like that. But I think it's okay to be disappointed if you're back at your stalls. My problem is just what Dale's saying. And I'm telling you, this is getting worse too. When you're out there judging, and again, I'm in a unique position, and I'm going to first talk about the parents. I'm in a unique position because I don't look at the animals and I look at the crowd. And so I can see all their faces, and I've gotten pretty good at reading lips, actually. But anyway, and so I get that parents are upset too. I don't think ringside is the place to have that reaction. Again, go to your trailer, kick the tires, throw rocks, do whatever you need to do. But right there at the ring, I don't think that's the place to do that. Because again, you don't know what kid or what parent or what grandparent or anybody is seeing you have that little moment that you shouldn't be having right there at the ring. And I promise you, between camera phone, Snapchat, and everything else, more than likely they're going to catch you with evidence of it.
No question. I mean, you see it.
Yeah. And so, again, I'm all for being competitive, wanting to win, working hard on it, and I get being disappointed when you lose. I think there is a time and a place to be disappointed. I don't think it's ringside at all. And I don't think it's on social media. Now, to you kids, and I think Dale brings up a really good point, and I really think you need to listen, because I'm seeing this more than ever before. Like, you place somebody third. I am okay if, like, there is a small reaction and you can tell that kid is disappointed. Like, that's fine. But you have that reaction, and then you gut it up, you go to the third hole, you continue to show all this other stuff. The sulking, the eye rolling, all the things, that does you no favors. And again, I don't think, at least I know that I am not going to intentionally try to beat you the next time, but you have put a really bad taste in my mouth with your actions. And we all know at the competitive level that there is right now, there's going to be many, many options at most shows on who can be a breed champion, be a division champion, be grand overall, even class winners. For instance, just here recently, and again, when I say recently, I'm saying in the last 6 months, I have seen a child get real close to winning the whole show, not walk outside, throw the banner to the dad, the fitter, the whatever, rip shirt untucked, start yelling, screaming. I mean, I'm like, and I'm watching because I saw the child's dissatisfied in the ring. And so you watch it doesn't die there. You're sitting there waiting on the next class. So you're still watching ringside. And I see all of this. How do you think that set well with me, Dale?
Terrible. Terrible.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Or when we're at the backdrop and you're taking a picture, and this goes for parents and kids. If you are lucky enough to be at a backdrop that they have asked the judge to stand in your picture, you did pretty damn well at that show. Maybe you didn't win, but you did pretty damn well. And if you are shitty, ungrateful, all those things, it does not help you one bit.
The term I think of is disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a million ways to be disrespectful. And then, again, in the recent history, standing there taking a picture with the grand champion hog, people with the reserve champion hog, this one person is F this, screw that, that one sucks. Those are all, I mean, right there at the backdrop, all these, like, and we all know that I am literally 80% deaf in one ear. So if I can hear this, and everyone at the backdrop in this person's family group is talking about this man having this conniption fit over there. And so they leave. This guy wipes up. Oh, you did a great job. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. I'm like, really, dude? After that whole display for the last 7 minutes, this is what we're going to do? I mean, it just fathoms me. It fathoms me.
You would just wonder how they. It's hard for me to even understand. We preach. You hear every Grand Drive speech about what we're doing in terms of building these kids better and making them better adults, and then we set that kind of.
You have to lead by example.
Absolutely, and we're not that. That is my biggest concern right now. I know you went on a tirade about. Earlier here, just attitude and all these things. And part of it, to me, I can encompass a bigger picture. I can take it into just being a good person and leading by example and surrounding your children. As a parent, I cannot fathom how you can intentionally put your child in a position where you've got this fitter or this person, whatever, assisting and around them all the time, that you know that's not how you want your child to end up. But guess what? Your child is going to be influenced by those around them, period. So let's put some thought into that in our ourselves as parents and the attitudes that we bring to the show and to everyday life. That is going to impact how your kids live the rest of their lives. And we continue to say we do all of this for the kids, and that is the heart and soul of our youth livestock program. Let's do our part and be better and set better examples. Period.
Troy is just Mr. Rainbows and Butterflies is going to absolutely despise this episode. But anyway, I love this industry. If I did not love this industry, I would literally not put myself through what I do almost every day. Not just being on the road, being away from my family, friends, whatever, all this stuff. I am talking about the people that still bash me, the idiot shit I get sent via social media, all these things. If I didn't love this industry and love these kids, no, I would not do this. I would not. You would have to be beyond insane to put up with everything that I put up with and then continue to live your life on the road, away from everybody you care about, if you didn't have a passion for it and you didn't love it. So I'm not trying to be negative, but when I see things like this happen repeatedly over and over and over, and it seems to me like that is growing and not instead of diminishing, I think we have to talk about it.
Agreed.
Because
completely.
if we don't talk about it, then it's going to continue to grow and continue to fester. And that's the opposite of what we need to happen. Because again, just like Dale said, and just like I say on most of my Grand Drive speeches, the animal is just a vessel. And yes, the majority of us love to compete and want to be competitive and we want to win. But in the end, these kids are going to take so much from this program that will make them grand champions in the game of life if they use it and to what they are passionate about. That's what this is really about. And I don't know anyone, and I don't think that this whole industry is made up with a bunch of bad people. I don't. I think the overwhelming majority of them are great people. I think great people even have bad moments. And maybe a lot of these was just them having a bad moment that I've seen. I don't know, but possibly.
I think we find it in every industry, and we see
Right.
it. We see it in our club sports, our high school sports, junior high. It's everywhere. So I think let's just think about what the purpose of these things are, and everybody will tell you that the youth livestock and the stock show industry is about making these kids better through work ethic, responsibility. Well, part of it is also the attitude, and I can assure you, in hindsight, when I look back at the many students that I've had, and just stock show kids in general over the years, those that had that positive attitude every day, and created that in their little kid group or group of friends and all those are the same people that go on to become the most successful. I can think about our interns that we've had in the past, in those really positive ones. I mean, they're going above and beyond what they thought they could ever achieve in adulthood. And part of it is people want to be around others with a positive attitude. That is going to get you further in life. It's going to allow you to live a happier life. There's no justification whatsoever to try to come into every day with that really negative, terrible attitude. It serves no good, period.
Again, to end this on a high note, a positive note, because I'm going to get in very much trouble if I do not tell the story of Cherie demolishing my home. I was supposed to do that in current events, and I forgot. But to end this section, the main topic, on a very high and positive note, again, remember this is about the kids. And yesterday, when I was leaving the Montana Fair after, making the all-night drive, all this other stuff, adorable little boy walks up to me, sticks out his hand to shake mine. He said, "Mr. Rash, I want to thank you." He said, "I don't show sheep or goats, but I know what you did to get here to judge this show." He says, "I don't think many people would have done that, and I appreciate you coming here and judging the sheep and goat show for all of those exhibitors." I literally almost lost it all over this cute little child. And that we need more of that than all this other stuff, because that is the beauty of this program right here. Little 10, little 11-year-old boy has nothing to gain. I'm not judging him. He's showing cattle and pigs here, but he wanted to thank me. That is the beauty of the junior livestock show industry, and we all need to strive to be like that little boy.
Absolutely.
So, are you good with our main topic?
I'm good with the main topic. What? Now you can't go negative on your mother doing you.
Yes, I can.
She is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to redo your house.
No one asked her to. She is an old lady that is bored, but I do not care what y'all think.
You should be grateful. That's what we just talked about. We talked about this whole episode.
Dale, if I had asked her to redo my home and she said yes, I would be very grateful. I did not ask her. But anyhow, so I come home. I don't remember where now, but I have like literally 36 hours at home. And I pull into the driveway and there's like 100 trash bags piled up in my driveway. I'm like, what in God's name? Then I look over and I see all my appliances wrapped in trash bags. I'm like, what has happened? I walk inside my house. There is no floor. There is no ceiling. There is no nothing. I mean, it has been gutted. Gutted. Upstairs is that way too. I just.
Now, there is one thing I find incredibly entertaining about this.
What? That she didn't tell me, she didn't warn me, all those things.
Because
and then,
all you would have done is complained about it. So she just left it alone and did it.
Because she was going to do what she wanted to anyway. That is the purpose of me telling this. All you people who say that I'm mean to my mother and all these other things, all this stuff. First off, you don't understand our relationship. Secondly, I do not think anybody will believe, but this is the truth, that she gives no warning. She does nothing. She knows when I'm coming home, asks when I came home, and conveniently makes herself gone on a vacation she did not tell me about.
Just coincidence.
Right, just coincidence. The day that I show up and find that my house is literally unlivable and gutted, and her nor Daddy James will answer the phone. Daddy James answers the phone any time of night, any time of day, whatever. This man has never not answered the phone. Nothing. Nothing from these people.
Okay, I'm going to bring you back to reality. Are you ready?
What? I'm just telling the story because I've had 900 requests since my Snapchat to tell the story.
Do you know how many of our listeners would love to have your mother come in and spend that kind of money to remodel their home, even if she doesn't tell them when they're doing it? They'd all volunteer for it.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yes.
I don't think so. I don't.
It's very.
Y'all don't know her taste. I'm just telling you.
It is very, very expensive, especially now.
Dude, but no one is asking her to spend that money. No one. This is just an old lady that is bored, like learn to crochet. Remodeling homes is not a hobby. That is it. That is all I have to say.
Well, let's leave on a positive note that you're going to have a beautiful home when you return. Just
how would I know? She hasn't asked me what colors I want. You know, what anything. I'm getting no say in this. I really liked my house the way it was. I took a great deal of time and effort and energy making it that way. So, yeah, I don't know, but we'll see, I guess.
I did see pictures. It's all gone. It is gutted to the
No, I'm not. Yes, literally. I'm not exaggerating, but
upstairs as well, or no?
Yes.
But you never ever go up there.
No, but I did that day.
That's pretty good. It's time. It is time for question and answer. And the first one serves two purposes. This is actually one of the Fresh H2O customers that sent us a message stating just some customer feedback on Show Fresh H2O. My daughter's heifer drank all week at the Junior National Hereford Expo, and she had a wonderful experience in the junior sales presentation selling that product. Question for BTR podcast. Given the large assortment and selection of supplements, how much research goes into designing and testing them?
I don't know about all products, but I think a lot of them, the ones that I know about, I would say substantial.
See, I think substantial on a few, and I think little to zero.
I said the
on
ones
others.
I know about. I didn't say all. I said the ones that I know about.
And I think there are supplements that people have put a lot of time, a lot of research and testing into, at least on-farm testing at their place and what works for them. But I also believe there's a lot out there that we're just throwing shit together and marketing it well, and that's not good. That's where I'm going to leave that. Supplements, there's some great ones, there's some terrible ones. Visit with your other show families that have used it. Visit with all these things. Don't assume because the grand champion at the Iowa State Fair was on supplement A, B, C, D, and E, that is why that calf one or that pig one or whatever species it is. More times than not, it's the fact that we started with a good one. We're putting the time in to manage correctly. We have a balanced feeding program in front of them. And if the supplement can help in one manner or another, that's great. But most of our feed supplements, okay, and there's some good ones out there, and we're not opposed to using some of those. But if you think of it this way, if you're using a supplement, increasing whatever nutrient, whatever that supplement is bringing to the table, the only way that's going to help is if your diet is currently deficient in such. If that makes sense. And maybe there are diets that are, and maybe the levels that we assume they need have not been calculated right, and we need to go above and beyond, and then the supplement's going to be of benefit. But there's a lot of times that we don't take that into consideration. I make fun of our buddy, our guest last week, Eric Fugate. He would, honest to God, put in 80% of the feed would be supplements with a handful of feed, and that is not ideal by any means. So, yes, a wide variety. I don't think there's any way to answer that question. Some supplements have huge research and science behind them. Others have absolutely zero. So try to sort through that the best you can. The next one comes from Lauren. Hi, I'm a huge fan of your podcast. I was wondering if maybe you could talk about what intensity in cattle showmanship ring means and how to gain it when a judge says that you need more intensity.
That was probably me.
That I was going to say that, but yes, I'm guessing you told them that.
Yeah, and again, I think intensity is one of those things that is very hard to achieve, but you've got to have it. And I think it is a combination of eye contact, but it is more than eye contact. It is also your body language, but more importantly than eye contact and body language, it is facial expressions, like reading what is behind the eyes in a kid. And I think that what makes it hard is if you're not naturally an intense person and you're trying to gain intensity, more times than not, you're going to come across when you look mad. Would you agree with that, Dale? Like when you're trying to force intensity?
Yes, and I don't like the mad look. And I understand.
Right.
I understand what they're trying to do. I get
right. This is going to sound stupid, but they asked, so I'm going to tell them. I think you need to look at those kids' expressions that are winning showmanship. Like when I say this one is extremely intense, look at that kid's expressions or whatever. And then I tell people all this time in livestock judging, I gave reasons in a mirror every single night for almost 2 years. Like a long time before I started actually judging at A&M and then the whole time through, because you will never be able to see what your face looks like or anything like that. Know what expressions you make unless you do it in a mirror. And I know you can't show cattle, sheep, goats, or pigs in a mirror, but you can practice facial expressions. And if you are someone that lacks intensity naturally, that's the only way that I know to help you.
And it's hard. It's hard. Some kids have it, some kids don't. And I understand.
It is the hardest thing to gain in terms of showmanship if you don't have it naturally. Now, it can happen. I have seen it happen. And I have trained a kid that literally was a terrible showman when they first started out. Not only just not intense, just a bad showman at 8 years old. And eventually we got around to it, but it was hours of not only us actually showing in practicing in a ring, but it was also sitting in the stands and me pointing out, do you see that girl in third? Do you see the look on her face? She is intense. She wants it. You can tell. Look how she holds her shoulders. I mean, all those things. And so if you don't have it naturally, you're going to have to work harder than you've ever had to work before to get it. I'm just being honest.
No, and that's a hard one. Good. I love the question. It's a very difficult thing to achieve, and especially get that right part where you're not looking angry in the ring. And we want to avoid that as well. Excellent answer. Gentlemen, some judges have a hard ceiling for the weight of a steer. Do you have a maximum weight that you will use, or is it the best steer, regardless of weight, the one that you will use?
I think this is a trick question.
Okay. Are they trying to hold you accountable somewhere?
No, I don't know. I don't think it's that at all. I think it's a trick question because at the county fair level, you're probably going to be more willing to use one that I think all of us have a weight parameter that we're comfortable with. But I think like at the county fair level, if the best steer is under that weight parameter, over that weight parameter, but clearly the best steer, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable using that one because you don't have as many quality options. Now, if you get to judging the steer show at, a major show or a state fair, probably not, because you're going to have options in the parameter that you feel comfortable with more times than not. Does that make sense to you, Dale?
It does. I love that answer, but I still want you to answer the question.
My parameter, I am good from right around, I would say ideal 1,300 to 1,375. I do not get Twitter pated from 1,250 to probably 1,400. I think under 1,250 and over 1,400, I start to go, well, is this one really ready, or how big is this one really? Like when we haven't, manipulated its weight, how big is that animal? And so that's where I'm
at. A 1,400-pound calf, if we're over 1,400 pounds, we know that we've manipulated the weight down as best we can, in theory.
Yeah.
So it's probably a pretty big one in the.
Well, and again, and this goes back to what I was saying. If you have a great calf that's over 1,400 pounds, you have, and the steer is very, very good, you have manipulated it to get it as light as you can. It's not like this was just some calf that was terrible that you just kept growing and growing and growing. I mean, you have tried to get the weight to as low as you can because you know you're probably too heavy. But I think it depends on what is at the show. And I think the more intense level of competition at a show, then you're probably more liable to stay within your weight parameters.
And I think I like that answer, Ryan. And you would not be afraid if you're at a county show or a jackpot show and one comes in that's 12:30 and it's clearly the best one, it's going to win, even if it's called a market.
I was
show.
at the Calgary Stampede and a white steer won out of class 2, and I think if he was 1250, he was barely 1250, but that was the best steer, and that was a big important show, but it was still the best one. But I mean, again, I think the more intense the competition, the more likely you are to stick to your parameters.
Yes,
and I think that is a very good question because I don't think it's asked enough. And again, this is just me and Dale hasn't given his or whatever, but like, I think that is something that you should ask almost anybody. If you have the chance, if you're at a show and you see some, maybe they're not judging that show, but you feel like that they'll judge you at a county fair or a major show or a state fair, walk up, introduce yourself, say, hey, I know you're not judging this show. I would not do it at a show they were judging, by the way. But you're going to see people that judge shows at all shows and say, hey, I know you're not judging this show, but you judge a lot of shows. You do a good job. So obviously you're going to be around. I was wondering what your weight parameters for a market steer is.
No,
and I guarantee you they'll give you an answer.
I think that is all part of it. That's a good thing. That's not cheating. That's
called research.
Yeah, that's
playing the game,
doing everything you can to try to succeed in the ring. And if you know you're going to a judge, maybe that judge does have a hard limit at 1392 or whatever it may be. But I think Ryan, I like the direction you took. Instead of a hard ceiling, you're giving your ideal, and there isn't necessarily a hard ceiling. Now, the next judge down there may have a hard ceiling, period. They just might. Every judge is going to be different.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about is where did your parameters come from? Where did you get your parameters? You personally.
I think that like everything, I think they've evolved over time. I can remember back when I was winning major shows left and right, that if you were over 1,300, you were dead.
Okay.
I mean, dead. Like, you want to talk about a hard ceiling? Like, that, it did not happen.
And why was that there? You do know. You do know why it was there.
That was the trend at the time.
At that point, and we're not going to say how many years ago. It's not nice to divulge a lady's age.
That's right.
At that point, most of the packing plants that we had could not handle big carcasses. The rails were too low. They drag on the ground, quarantine the carcass. So that was the basis for a lot of that 1,300. We've built packing plants with rails that are higher. We can handle heavier weights. So now it's not as much controlled or as much influenced by what the packing plant can handle, but maybe more about efficiencies and where the marbling is and things that it should be. So I think that's why we've continued to bump up here recently. We've definitely blown past that 1,300. That was a hard ceiling for a long time.
For a long time. Then it got to like 1,350, and it's only been the last 2 or 3 years, I'd say, that cattle over 1,400 have won, major shows, stuff like that. And again, I don't think these animals are getting taller that are making them way more. They're just getting more massive. And I think that may be why nobody's making as big a deal of it, because it's not like the animals are physically getting bigger. They're just denser. They're more massive. They've got bigger bones, all these things that increase weight. And maybe that's why people don't have as big a problem with it. But again, I think at some point, we're also going to have to say, okay, we might need to rail this back just a little bit.
Yep. And I think the industry, and I know you don't want to talk about the industry in the show ring, but I think their carcass weights have continued to climb. And when we're talking about steers, I believe in 2021, and I just pulled this up when I saw this question, average carcass weight's 888 pounds. That's, if I do the back math on that, on their dressing percentage, that's heavier than I thought. Heifers 50, 60 pounds less probably than steers, but the weights are creeping up there from an industry standpoint. And I think as that happens, that window becomes larger. If it's defined, let's look at the Illinois State Fair Market Steer Show. If that is the title of the show, Market Steer Show, I feel somewhat obligated or would expect that you'd want to try to have enough finish that in an ideal world, you're hitting that low choice quality grade, or at least they have a chance to do it. So they're close to being at their end point. If you're sorting a jackpot show, I could care less if it's a prospect, if it's a fat state, it doesn't matter, period. But those that are titling it a market show and our national steer shows, market steer shows, I think Ryan's parameters are probably going to encompass most of your judges, just to help answer that question. But remember, each judge is going to have their own parameters. They're going to be very independent about if they have a ceiling or don't have a ceiling. And I don't think the ceilings are there like they used to be, as hard maybe as they used to be. But I'm sure there's some judges that still have those. And it's an excellent question. We need to know where we're at. And I always encourage people, regardless of the species, to feed that animal to what it looks best at and not worry as much about the weight. But if we're approaching some hard ceiling, then we've got to readjust. But very good. Ryan, how did you like the question and answers today?
There was only 2.
I don't think I'm out. We were going along anyway, so I think that's all you get today. No, we had the supplements, we had the steer, and you had the intensity. We had 3. Do not try.
No, there was only 2 for me because the H2O question was not. I thought there was the H2O question was just that.
Yeah, he threw a testimonial and a question together there.
Okay. Well, you didn't even ask me for my opinion on that, so yes, there you go. But
it was the supplement one. You talked about it a little bit. I think you've had a long drive.
and it's early. It's an hour earlier than what it is to you are. But anyway, I'm losing my mind daily. But yeah.
Well, Ryan, it was good to have you back, and I look forward to next week. And until then, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?